The film commences, and immediately thereafter, the terrorist hijacks the plane. They proceed to shoot and kill all the staff, including the pilots. A female police officer attempts to intervene but is shot and killed, indicating their willingness to eliminate anyone who obstructs their mission. The National Security Agency, Deputy Toyin, who was about to open an envelope containing the outcome of her promotion request, receives a call informing her about the situation. She places the letter on her desk and enters the control room. Before she can fully assess the situation, NSA Director Hawkins arrives to take charge. Despite their personal issues, Toyin and Hawkins understand that addressing the immediate problem is the right decision for everyone. Meanwhile, 20 minutes pass, and the plane is left with only 77 minutes of fuel. With the failsafe disengaged, the aircraft is on course for a crash unless a miracle occurs. Hawkins authorizes Code Orange, even though Deputy Toyin advised against it. Toyin repeatedly tries to contact her undercover agent on board through a special earpiece device. However, before he can respond, he discovers the pilot suffering from a gunshot wound. He asks the pilot's young son, who is also on the plane, to help stop the bleeding while he retrieves the medical kit. He requests a passenger to find a nurse who can attend to the pilot's injuries. A bearded passenger locates a courageous yet nervous nurse and convinces her to accompany him. Meanwhile, the man hides his earpiece and communicates with the other hijackers in their language, demonstrating his affiliation with the group. He reveals the earpiece only to the nurse, informing her that he is an Interpol agent and that she must trust him to keep the pilot alive. Initially skeptical, the nurse's trust develops after seeing him wearing a locket in memory of his deceased son. Together, the nurse and the bearded man make every effort to save the pilot. With the pilot's son witnessing his father's condition, the urgency intensifies. The nurse informs the boy that the hijacker who is assisting them is actually an agent working to ensure everyone's safety. However, this revelation angers the agent, as it increases the risk of the other hijackers discovering his true identity. Despite this setback, it becomes necessary to administer a jolt to the pilot to wake him up. The nurse understands the risks but is compelled to take the chance. She administers 2 shots, a combination of different medicines. Sadly, the pilot succumbs after the last shot, but not before providing crucial information to stabilize the cabin pressure. The agent successfully saves everyone's lives by following the pilot's instructions. The pilot's devastated son witnesses his father's death and lashes out at the agent in frustration. Understanding the pain of loss, the agent directs his anger inward, punching a mirror in the bathroom. The nurse senses his distress and tends to his wounded hand, leading to a vulnerable moment where they share details about their lives. The nurse expresses her willingness to take control of the plane, and the agent shows her how to use a 3D printed gun, advising her to wait for the right moment. In the NSA control room, it is discovered that Nasnus is a code word associated with apocalyptic discussions on the Ukrainian dark web. Toyin's main concern is that Hawkins initiated Code Orange, which would send F-22 jets armed with missiles to destroy the plane mid-air. Toyin instructs Remy, the chief operator, to warn the agent about the jets, divert the plane's course, and evade the incoming missiles, despite Hawkins's opposition. She is determined to prevent the loss of innocent lives unless absolutely necessary. However, Hawkins's plan backfires when the missile from an F-22 hits another plane, resulting in the deaths of several innocent people. The debris from this disaster destroys 2 F-22 jets traveling at high speeds. Ignoring the tragedy he caused, Hawkins shamelessly sends a 3rd jet to complete the job, disregarding the fact that he had just created a catastrophe and was determined to create an even larger one. Amidst the chaos, little attention is given to the clue related to Nasnus. 2 hijackers, Anan and Marco, open a safe to inspect a nuclear warhead labeled Nasnus. The end-of-the-world discussions were not just rumors, they were real. The hijackers' plan involves crashing the plane, triggering the detonation of the Russian-origin nuclear bomb. They believe that a war between the United States and Russia would allow the world to eliminate these superpowers and start anew. Once the security footage of the flight's cargo is reviewed, Hawkins suspects that the plane may be carrying long-lost and highly volatile nuclear weapons. He acknowledges Toyin's resistance against Code Orange from the start, and patronizingly commends her. He knows that she has applied for a promotion 5 times in order to reform the system and remove individuals like him. However, he warns her that the position comes with its own challenges. Hawkins shares a personal story about how his superior's orders led to the kidnapping of his own daughter. With a fresh perspective, he returns to the control room, fully convinced that the agent on the flight is their only hope. He instructs Remy to assist the agent in installing a new fail-safe device and provides the identification of the 5 hijackers. One of the names, Enid Slaughter, triggers memories of Hawkins' past. Enid was a nemesis to Hawkins, but he was only aware of his involvement in the death of Enid's son, who perished when Hawkins accidentally caused an explosion at a school while attempting to apprehend his daughter's killer. With just a few minutes of fuel remaining on the plane, chaos erupts as the passengers revolt against the hijackers. The agent kills Marco and strangles Annan. Hawkins contacts him, instructing him to enter the cockpit and follow Remy's guidance to reinstall the failsafe and reroute the flight to the nearest landing strip. The agent successfully installs the failsafe and is left with the task of entering the authorization code. Here, an unexpected twist unfolds, catching even Hawkins off guard. Marco, before dying, reveals to the nurse that he was the actual Interpol agent, and the person in the cockpit is the leader of the gang. The man in control of the plane is Enid, who found Marco's lost earpiece during the turbulence. Enid eliminates his fellow gang members whenever possible because he cannot determine the true traitor. He establishes communication with the NSA and regains control of the plane with their assistance, intending to crash it and trigger the nuclear bomb. Hawkins, who destroyed Enid's family by taking away his son, now faces the prospect of losing his entire country. However, the nurse Kim shoots Enid and takes control of the cockpit, attempting to steer the plane. In his final moments, Enid sees the innocent pilot's son and recalls his own young son, who died at the hands of a stranger. His conscience awakens, and he realizes that the cycle of revenge must end with him. Recognizing that the autopilot cannot reach the intended distant airport, he enters the cockpit and assists Kim in manually landing the plane on a nearby private runway just seconds before the fuel runs out, averting the nuclear catastrophe. After the successful mission, Toyin finds her 6th rejection waiting for her in the envelope she left on her desk. However, Hawkins resigns and allows Toyin to take the lead.